Hello and welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken, our 5th edition live play that meets every Tuesday night. Last week, the party, still split between Brumdor and Aspara, went about their individual adventures. Larmendis getting to meet up with Nalia in her home and exchange some needed information before beginning their study of spellwork. They are enjoying coffees and each other's company, while the rest of the party is off scouring a very rancid-smelling battlefield covered in bodies, though that is becoming slowly less the case as the groups of soldiers are now succeeding in picking up bodies without being attacked by zombies. Again, thanks to the party's efforts. Out near the crossroads at the south end of the battlefield, about 2.5 miles walk from the city gates, the party was in a copse of trees following the drag trails of a body from the battlefield. And upon interacting in here, they were met with magic mouth spells that instructed them to do certain other things that were clearly designed to be perilous to them, but Raiken, being who he is, was oblivious to the danger even as it attempted to befall him, and eventually they were presented with a horde, a literal horde, of Flumphs. The person who created this trap clearly expected that adventurers would not be well versed with what Flumphs are and get into a fight with the kindly creatures. But the party, this being their third time meeting such animals, realized that these things could in fact be troves of information and decided to befriend them instead. And so after a long and enlightening, though mostly for the Flumphs themselves, conversation, they did agree to bring the Flumphs back to the city after extracting just enough information for Vendar to feel convinced that the person responsible for these zombies is the Necromancer, whom they've faced before, who stole their cart, and whom they defeated at Shatterstone Keep in Thanandir almost 2 months ago. Game time. About 4 years ago, real time.
Crazy.
Huh?
I said it's crazy.
It's crazy. And so now they are at the walls of the city. They've just met with Theron Ethian, the Archmage of Aspara's Mages Guild, who seemed a lot less concerned about the Flumphs than about the chaos magic that has taken hold of their friend Cyrus and caused him to vanish. And so the instruction being that when he reappears, let me know. Because he clearly wants to learn more about this. After that, he escorted them into the city to the Temple of Erathis. And that is where we left off. Sorry, having a throat problem. So unless there's any particular information that you want to go over with Nalia, Sam, I would just continue their little city story until there's a good end of day point, and then we'll go to the next day, and you should be able to come back.
I think that's what I'm expecting.
Okay. So, is there anything in particular that Larmendis wishes to have a real-time discussion with Nalia about at this time?
Should clone be real time, or should we discuss it offline?
I had imagined that all that was needed to be said about that had been, but if you want that to be,
That's what I figured that everything was clear on that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to double check.
I just didn't know if you wanted it on hard record or not.
I think it's fine to have said in this situation, but I don't think we need to say any more than what we've already discussed about it.
Okay. I figured that would be more of a contingency and a surprise for later. Okay. Then, if we are leaving that as a behind-the-scenes discussion, then the party, the rest of you, minus Leah, are brought by Theranethian to the Temple of Erathis in the mid-tiers of the city, with this gaggle of 9 Flumphs. And as you're moving up the streets from the gate plaza to the Temple of Erathis, there is no end of soldiers and commoners alike stopping and, staring, open face at these aberrations that are following you. Several exclaiming in fright, and at every turn, the Archmage, holding up his hands and assuring people as best as he can that the creatures are well in hand and no threat. You hear now and then various cries as people are very clearly being talked to telepathically by the Flumphs, and they are surprised, scared of what's going on. And so I imagine it can be a group effort of trying to assure people the safety of interacting with Flumphs. But clearly the general population here is not used to having such creatures among them. And the initial responses are, of course, surprise and fear.
They're just floating.
Basically?
They can read me psychically. I'll tell them to, one of them to sit on my shoulder to show that, the one's in contact with us and perfectly fine.
Okay. Alright, the Flumph that you think at, kind of does that dismissive gesture with its tentacles, and drifts over to you, and then just kind of plops down, and you notice that it has kind of the consistency of flan once it's resting its weight on you and no longer floating, and so as you're stepping and your shoulder is swinging back and forth with the movement, it's just sort of wobbling and drifting back and forth on the edge, like it's stuck there by suckers but would otherwise fall off kind of feeling.
Okay.
You just see its eye stalks drifting around, focusing on random different things. And after a few moments in your mind, you hear, "This is fun."
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself.
Normally I fly everywhere. I've never gotten to ride. It's slower.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be a good way to show people that have uncertainties about you that everything is good.
That seems like a good idea. And it starts waving 2 of its tentacles in the air like a politician in a parade at at people that you're passing by, with that uneven ripple of a mouth across the top of its body, just sort of curling at the edges, like this hideous smile. People do seem to be put slightly more at ease by seeing you interacting with the thing physically and unharmed. And some even wave back at the odd little creature.
I'll become the town mascot.
Could be. But you get to the Temple of Erathis, and by this time, some of the commoners and even soldiery are, following along at a generous distance. Not a mob, but a small crowd who are very curious as to what is going on here. As the Archmage leads you into the Temple of Erathis, pushing open the doors, and there are several acolytes within who seem to be working on ledgers. One dressed more finely than the others, stands up from the back, and she comes forward and says, "This is an unusual interruption. Archmage, how can we help you?" And Theron Ethian will kind of step to the side and gesture at the group with your aberrations drifting or sitting about you, as it is. And he says, "These adventurers have brought to us these creatures called Flumphs, and while these particular ones haven't learned a great deal yet, they do draw on the thoughts of those around them and learn. And so I figured that they could be useful to you here in your work for the city. It will also be a safe place for them to be. I think before long they will be contributors, and it will give me a place that I can come and deal with them, that they won't be scaring my customers." And she kind of, turns from him toward the Flumphs and looks around at you, looks to your faces to see if there's any confirmation from any of you.
I will nod.
And she'll narrow her eyes at the Flumphs and say, "So, instead of scaring away the customers of the Mages Guild, you would be terrorizing the adherents to Erathis herself." And, Theron Ethian will kind of spread his hands before him, kind of, bowing a little bit, but very clearly a smirk on his face, as he says, "I'm sure that your followers will quickly understand the civic benefits of such knowledge-absorbent creatures, and you will have an easier time getting people to understand this than I would with my more diversified clientele." The Flumph on your shoulder, Yukikaze, is going to telepath to you and say, "So, we're supposed to stay here?"
Oh, yeah, just stay with all the others.
There's a lot of knowledge and thoughts and information. We're welcome here?
They seem to be pretty receptive of having you guys around.
The Toymaker made it seem like we would have a hard time finding such a place.
I will be happy to prove you wrong. Or prove him wrong.
The other Flumphs are going to drift into the room and settle themselves kind of clusteringly around the acolytes, who seem not entirely comfortable with that. Give me just a moment, because I know I have the name of this cleric. Where are we? Spara. Darn. Cleric of my own. Here are me, Raven Queen. Rat. I thought I gave her a name. Oh. I'll correct
Tristan.
that. What?
Are we supposed to be seeing the field? Because I still see the artwork.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes and by sometimes I mean both of the last two episodes, I forget to turn it off.
I mean, it's a great picture to look at. It's
It
great
is.
artwork.
And I want the steps to be open the episode, introductions, tell the story of the last episode, and then turn off the artwork. And I keep forgetting to do that last step. That way all the episodes start with the artwork and the title block and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I also find it easy to forget because I really should build the city. I have a map for it even, thanks to Derek, but I haven't sat down and put buildings on it yet. Like the full-size map of the island.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this cleric of Erathis will fold her arms across her chest, looking at Ethian, and say, "Fine, but only because I understand what these creatures can be good for, and I know that they are harmless." She's going to wave to the other acolytes in the room and assure them that feeling about them are trustworthy and should be treated kindly. And the one on your shoulder, you can go deeply and thank the cleric for her understanding. And then turn back to the group and say, "Well then, I believe that's all I'm needed for here. If there's nothing else, I'm going to return to the guild." He is addressing that to you. Okay. Of course, it is my job as Archmage to see that the city's magical needs are taken care of, and that in times of danger they have protection that I can provide. Now then, adieu.
Have a nice day.
And
Take care.
he will push past you back out onto the street. The crowd, and through the crowd, they part around him, watching him go, and then kind of merge back together to look in through the doors of the temple. And you just feel like there's these hundreds of pairs of eyes, or hundreds of eyes, really, looking at you and at the Flumphs drifting around the room. And the cleric finally lets out a long-held breath and says, "Sometimes I hate dealing with him. Now then, do you all need something from the Temple of Erathis? We're always here to provide for the structure and running of the city." But don't all speak at once or anything.
I think we're probably okay. I can't think of anything that we'll specifically need you for, but we very much appreciate you taking care of our Flump friends here. I hope they prove to be useful.
As the Archmage said, they will likely be very useful once they've had a chance to absorb enough information. Until then, we will keep them safe and make sure that... And she kind of waves a hand between you, gesturing out the door. And that the people of the city understand that they are friendly. One of the other acolytes kind of thoughtfully waves a quill in the air and says, "Citizenship. We should give them citizenship. That'd be a good first step."
I'm all for that. Sounds good.
The cleric before you just kind of sighs and says, "Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Well then, Mr. Draknir, it would appear."
Yep.
We haven't met, but it is, And she kind of, like, looks to a sign on the wall, which you notice has your name on it. And she says, apparently a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, just recently dealt with the issues and happy to be back in good standing.
Well then, let me be the first in the Temple of Erathis to welcome you to Everwatch and back into the fold of Aspara.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
She will give a slight bow, and then she'll indicate that she has duties to return to, and that if you have nothing further, the door is behind you.
So how long has it been since we split from there?
At this point, maybe a little over 3 hours.
Right. And he's gonna be in Bromdor a while, right? Because it was like 16 hours to copy that spell.
Yeah, it was a bunch.
He would have let you because he would have had the information about how long it would be when the telepathic bond was still up. So he would have been able to convey that information. He didn't have it before leaving, but mine's a 7th level spell.
Right. And there had been some time around that. Your plan was to be gone around about 15 hours.
Yeah.
He's teaching you a spell too, right? I assume you can do that at the same time then?
Yes. That is how we're doing it.
Good.
It's a spell exchange that they can overlap on. It doesn't have to be one after another.
That's good. Hey, so, well, we learned some stuff about the go to a temple and use commune. See if we can figure out more. If it is in fact who we think it is. Or should we just wait for Lair?
The rest of you party members are aware that you have about 12 more hours before Lair's supposed to return. So, you can do as you please in those hours, and finding more information isn't a bad idea.
Ooh.
Yeah, I guess Raiken will try to look for information as well.
I have given the cleric Erathis a name. She is here. Just so that it's on record.
So that when Larmendus gets back, he'll have an idea of what's been happening, what we know.
We should be able to use commune to fairly easily determine if we're correct about the identity. If we want to do that, we could just have the clerics of Erathis here perform the ritual.
Ikaz is just gonna scratch his head and say, I have no objections.
I mean, 3 questions.
There are 3 questions.
So
We'll have to.
we would have to come up with 3 questions.
Yeah.
But
we
would
seem
have,
to have an idea what one of them will.
Yeah.
The initial one could certainly be, is he alive? And if he is in fact alive, then we'd ask if he was in fact responsible for the... I suppose we could ask if he's working alone, or maybe we could try to determine... anything more but determining him would probably require more questions. Lair is much...
Are good starting points. As we do want to we figured that he must be working with someone else, but it would be good to fully confirm it. As well as, obviously, if he actually is alive and if he did do it.
What's the name of the city again?
The city Everwatch.
I guess if for some reason, if he ended up not being a part of it, I guess the last question could turn into just were multiple people part of the attack rather than specifically him and another person or other
Of course,
people.
what if we ask if he's alive and the answer is no? Perhaps he's in some state of undeath. Maybe he's a lich now.
Yes, then we could modify the second question then to be something like that.
Of course, we could ask the first question, and then if the answer is no, we could still ask if he was responsible. And if the answer is yes, then we could ask if he's a lich.
I've thrown 3 questions in there now. You can use those as a starting point.
Now, don't we know the guy's
Siltharis
actual
is
name?
the gold dragon, not Shisharan.
Who's Shisharan?
The
Black
black
dragon.
Yeah, that was the one that destroyed Tuka.
But
So
still, it is a correct name for the campaign. So good job on that.
An entirely reasonable memory.
Yeah, exactly.
But we actually know the name of Christopher's grandpa, don't we? He was.
Yes, I think so. I have it here. Hasn't come up
Does
in a
Vendar
long
remember
time.
the name?
You should roll a history check while I roll my history check and get
I
my
believe
notes open.
The first question is a good one, Jebel. The other two are not. They're also good, but I don't know. Especially number 3, I don't know if that one. If we
Suppose
should
we could
change it to
plan, yeah.
something else, possibly.
For the benefit of the stream, do we want to read out the things that we're discussing since we're discussing
Probably. I didn't think about that. Jebel, if you want to read off what your questions are.
Being on my history check.
You get a what on the history check?
17.
17. Okay, yeah, that'll do it. I have Alvernus Westigo.
Avernus Rustico. The first question we could specifically ask his name, because his name is Avernus Rustico.
Okay. Well, my first question was, is the Necromancer raised the undead who recently attacked the same man, stole our cart, and killed the gold dragon, Siltharis. So, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much the same question.
Second one, are his plans regarding Everwatch completed? And my third question was, has he moved on to a new area? So. Of course, if the answer to question 2 is no, then question 3 probably becomes moot.
Yes, then we could try it. Is he within some distance of the city or something? But or maybe we could actually is he
I'm just not sure of question 3 really being very beneficial.
It's also what you define as an area. Is that the same as what the good god defines as an area? Is a new area Aspara? Is he out of Aspara, or is he like on the same continent? Never really know with the gods.
I mean, that is a big thing. Is like if we get has he moved to onto a new area and we get yes, then we're basically in the same position that we already would be in if we didn't ask the question because it's a big continent.
Of course, we're also not limited to 3. We could always do more communes, and if we needed, we could even go to different temples to do communes, so we wouldn't have the possibility of failure. So if we do this commune and we find that we're still wanting for information, we could always do more.
That's fine, but you can come up with questions, so.
I mean, I would say the third question, in my opinion, should be more along the lines of if he had help.
See, I say the first, and I've already gone and forgotten the name that I just was told.
Alvernus Westigo.
Alvernus West. Okay. Yeah, I say first we asked if he's responsible. Then we ask if he's done with his attack on Everwatch. Then we ask if he's working alone. I say those are the questions we should ask.
I agree with this. I liked the first 2 questions a lot. Yeah, it was just that third one that I wasn't sure of. But yes, I am for this line of questioning.
I might rephrase the second question to be more like, has his part in his plans regarding Everwatch. It might be that he has set something in motion that is not completed, but he might have still his part might be done.
If he set something in motion that isn't completed, it would still be good to know, because then we would know that the city is still actively in danger.
Okay. So,
If we're all agreed on questions, then I will go over to the Erathis cleric. What was her name? Elaine?
Elaine Falwell.
I'll go over to Elaine and say, actually, we have decided that we would like to have a immune spell performed. If that is possible.
All right. Yes, we can help with that. Yes, it was not today. I know that you've been traveling around, so I just want to state it up front. You're aware that there is a charge for that service.
Of course, we will cover it.
Okay. Then, if you can just give us a moment to prepare, and 35 gold pieces, we will ask your questions.
I will give her 3 plat and 5 gold.
Very good. She smiles and she gives instructions to the acolyte who prepare space. The Flumphs continue to drift around, and every now and then you hear them in your mind saying, "We're going to get to see some magic." And after several minutes of casting, she turns to you and says, "Speak your first question."
I forgot the name again.
Alvernus.
Oh, it's just Alvernus. All right.
Let me
Is
do
the Necromancer who attacked the city Alvernus? The last name.
Westigo.
Westigo.
A long time ago that I came up with that name. That's why I had to look it up. Is the Necromancer. So she repeats your words in Celestial. And the bowl of pure water that sits at the center of their circle vibrates, and you hear this voice emanate from it in Celestial. And she seems to listen to it for a moment before spreading her arms and looking at you with a wide-eyed expression, saying, "The answer to your question, according to the gods, is yes."
He is still alive. Are his plans regarding Everwatch completed?
She speaks your question to the bowl, and it vibrates, this voice reverberating around the circle of clerics, and she seems to frown slightly. She says, "Unfortunately, on this matter, the gods are uncertain."
Why is Alvernus Westigo working alone in his attacking on the city?
She repeats your question, and again the voice comes back, and she looks at you gravely, before she says, "The gods say no."
Oh. That are
Well-
some, that's information.
Yeah, it's good that we now know for sure.
We could find out if his associate might be someone in the city, perhaps?
We could ask if he's working with somebody inside the city. But we'll need to perform another commune to have that happen.
Yeah, and that's only one question, so we need to,
And we'd need 2 more. I'll turn to Elaine. Well, thank you very much for the service. We will have to discuss this information.
She is solemnly overseeing the cleaning up of the area after the ritual. She turns to you, and she nods, quietly, for saying, "If we can help you with such things again tomorrow, we will make sure that you have right of first refusal."
We will let you know.
She nods and goes back to her work, the Flumphs spreading around the room again. Yukikaze, the one who had settled on your shoulder earlier, waves to you from the back of the room and says, "Thanks for the ride, and the knowledge, and everything."
You're welcome.
Take care.
It was nice to meet you all. Can't wait to meet you again.
The Flumphs all kind of drift around the party, just sort of like circling you, like a school of fish for a moment. But in each of your minds, you hear them all thanking you, and one of them finally says, "I hope you find the toy maker you seek. He sounds dangerous, so be careful."
I'll See you around.
They all just sort of drift back around the clerics, who are very slowly warming up to them and wave their tentacles at you. Outside of the temple, you meet with this crowd of onlookers, maybe 15 or 20 people. We're just kind of like squeezing around each other, trying to see in through the doors. And one of them looks up at you and says, "Excuse me, Lord, but what's all that then?"
Well, those are Flumphs, which they may look dangerous and scary, but they're actually very friendly and helpful. So there's no need to be worried by them. They will be helping out the Temple of Erathis, and everybody should try to, treat them well and get to know them.
They look like the kind of monsters the guards are supposed to protect us from.
Like I was saying, they look a bit scary, but they're actually some of the friendliest creatures in the world.
So there's friendly monsters.
Yes, they are quite friendly.
The whole crowd kind of looks like, really? Oh, what? That doesn't make any sense. And you're all adventurers and whatnot. You fight, you kill monsters. You get paid to kill monsters.
Well, we protect people and hurt things and kill things that are trying to hurt people.
Well, here's a thought, good sir. Do you know people that own dogs?
Good sir. No, good sir. Good sir. Just Jar will do. Dogs. There's dogs in the city. I don't.
Yes.
I don't have there isn't one that comes to me personally. Why? What do you mean?
Well, people have pets, and there are wolves that are pretty much the same thing as dogs that are just a different breed of canine.
Yeah, but wolves are
And
canine.
So, in retrospect, those ones people have to fight off versus domesticated dogs that you have as pets. They're perfectly nice. So these are monsters that are just on a more domesticated scale of creature.
He kind of like scratching his head, looking at you, narrowed eyes, like, so there's puppy dog monsters and wolf monsters, and these are puppy dog monsters.
That's an easy way to put it, or a way to look at it, yes.
Oh. Okay, the whole crowd is like, oh, okay, didn't think of it that way. Well, alright. They're all just like, like talking to each other about this as you say this. Well, can we do it? Can we pet him?
I don't know. It's probably something you could possibly ask them nicely. They do have a bit of intelligence. Or actually quite a bit of intelligence. If I say so myself.
The more they talk to people, so they're gonna get smarter.
Yeah, real quick.
Well, I guess if Temple of Erathis is the ones keeping them, then probably, what's that? Good for the sea and whatnot. They're always, setting trade regulations and such like. Maybe.
Hopefully, before long, they will be helping the city immeasurably.
They're gonna be like clerks. I hate dealing with clerks. They always want tax and tithe and whatnot. They can be paying no tithe to that thing.
I would assume that responsibility will still fall upon the clerics of Erathis.
Well, if you all can be around being adventurous and whatnot, I'm gonna keep my eye on it. But thank you for the information. Puts us a bit at ease, I think.
As long as you treat them well, then they'll be perfectly friendly and have no reason to learn anything bad.
I suppose, like I said, if you kick a puppy dog, it learns to be mean, right? Bite you later.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So don't kick the Flumph.
Simple as that.
He just kind of like shakes his, all right, like kind of leaves the group, and after he leaves, the others, still conversing, kind of like looking in a bit. Okay, and the whole group starts to kind of break up. You can see them all like joining other small groups of people who weren't crowding around the entrance, but were kind of like watching from a ways off down the roads and things, and start spreading this rumor that you've given them.
Larry's gonna be sorry he missed this.
I do love Flumphs.
Can't wait to tell him.
I learned a swear word. Oh, goodness. Anyway. So, you have given yourselves more information by paying for a commune spell. And with all of the talking, killed about another hour. At any time, you can skip ahead, but I want to make sure that you guys have, the ability to go and do anything you want to do prior to Lair coming back, since that is a significant chunk of time. It's going to be this evening. Like, night, honestly.
Well, I mean, there are more temples. We could go to the Temple of the Raven Queen or the Temple of Pelor and do another commune.
That you can. And those ones I do have the names for. No, wait. Hold on.
Is Alvernus Westigo working with somebody in the city? We need 2 more.
Is the person he's currently working with... Because he died. Have you let Jebel know that he died, that you killed him?
I mean, I would assume so, yes. That Vendar had made it clear that this man was dead and that he is somehow back to life.
Yeah, I think
And
that
you find
discussion that came
Yeah,
up in last session, like when you were
Yeah, that
talking
was.
about the possibility of it being him.
Yeah, because when it came to the point, I was like, it's got to be him, but we killed him, so he's somehow alive. Yeah, we definitely discussed that.
Then you can ask if the person they work same person who resurrected him.
That would determine if it was a spellcaster supposedly in the city. There aren't many of them.
Now,
And we'll find out if his actions are, I don't know, are they related to the
what again?
dragons in some way?
What did you actually ask for the first question? What was it, word for word, or at least as best you can remember, word for word?
The first question was the Necromancer who attacked Everwatch, Alvernus Westigo.
Okay, but so then we still technically didn't answer if he is actually quote unquote alive.
Yeah, we didn't ask if he was alive, so it's possible he is a lich.
We would have to phrase it in some way, because we can't say resurrected, because that might not actually be true. Especially since the spell is resurrection.
Would that differentiate if it was true resurrection and not just resurrection? Would that not count if we just said resurrected?
That's what I'm afraid of, just because of based off of when we have first started talking about commune, back when we were first able to do it, it seemed like the phrasing really had to be on point. Otherwise, you might not be getting the answer you're looking for.
I feel like for the use of a word that has meaning in and of itself, but also happens to be the name of a spell, that feels reasonably like you can pick up easily from the spell can pick up easily the context of it. Like, is this capital R resurrected, or is this, come back
Is it
to
the
life?
specific spell or
As the
type of
yeah, I feel like that's
Yeah, there's usually Tristan's been nice with the convenience of that.
Wait, I got praise. I
Like
wasn't listening.
but if you
Usually
use
not
the word
much.
resurrected in a commune, how much do you need to disambiguate that
From being raised as
they
an
were
undead.
brought back by the resurrection spell
Oh.
versus the true resurrection spell versus just come back to life?
Or
No. I
or
think
like you were saying about if he's undead or not.
Yeah, it's totally fair that if you say resurrection, if they were resurrected, it doesn't matter which spell it was. Then the answer would be yes. They wouldn't be like, no, they weren't resurrected.
Yeah.
They were true resurrected.
Were
No.
they raised deaded?
Right, no. Resurrected is resurrected. Now, raised as undead, that's going to be different.
Yeah, so if we say, I guess we could ask if he was resurrected, and if the answer is no, we can assume that he's probably undead of some sort.
Okay. Well, that would be one question.
So maybe the first question we should ask if he was resurrected.
And then the second question would
Ask
be
if he's-
the person who brought him back, not necessarily in this wording, but who brought him back is working with him currently.
I do think we should ask if the person he's working with is inside, as far as, or if he's working with somebody inside Everwatch.
Well, that could be a third question then.
Yeah, and I think so. We should. And then the third question would be, if that is yes, then the third question would be different. If the person, just go with your question. There's the person he's working with currently, the one who resurrected him.
Write them down.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Make sure you write them down. Because it also helps me to be able to read them as you're saying them.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah, you go ahead and write it.
Gosh. Me this time.
Of course, it's entirely possible he's got more than one person working with him. So. But I think these are reasonable questions.
Okay. So you're going to go seek out another temple. Did you have a preference between Cord and the Raven Queen, since those were the two that you suggested, and both of them would be in the same tier of the city?
I would just go to whichever temple was closest.
Okay. I think the Raven Queen is closest, because now that I'm thinking about it, I think I remember Cord's was closer to the Dock District, actually. Yes, so you head to the Temple of the Raven Queen. You've all recently been here, yesterday, the day before, in the last 3 days. I can't remember the exact timeline, unfortunately. But this is where the the party was brought by the supposedly cleric Alarn, who performed the rite to release these ghosts that had become attached emotionally to members of the party. As you enter the temple, you see a structure on the inside that does not look terribly different from the one you worked in Bromdor, where there are several rows of seating for people to come and give their prayers and make their offerings, and then several stone slabs toward the front beneath the watchful gaze of a statue of the Raven Queen herself. And you can see a few acolytes standing around one of the slabs, and you can see that there is a person laying upon it. And as you push open the door, you will see as a very large person begins walking towards you. You quickly realize, even in the candlelight of the room, that it is not Alarn, the human who you met before. This person is actually larger than him, and as they come into the light of the sun filtering through the doorway, you see that it is, in fact, a half-giant. And this half-giant man peers down at you as you stand in the doorway, and he says, "Welcome to the Temple of the Raven Queen. What can we do for you today? Have you a body for us to take care of, perhaps?"
We're actually looking to have a commune performed.
Oh, that is a rather unusual request here, but we can accommodate it. I'm afraid I must ask a small donation to the church in exchange for the ritual.
Of course. How much are you looking for?
We will require 30 gold pieces.
Of course. I hand him 3 platinum.
He takes the coins from you, you drop them into his large hand, and he quickly slides them apart and then makes them disappear into his robes. He says, "Oh, very well. If you have your questions you wish asked written, then you can hand them to me, and I will get you the answers, or you can pass them to me during the ritual. Either is fine."
We'll pass them to you during the ritual.
Very well. He leaves the other clerics be and goes to fetch a copper dish, which has a red liquid inside it, and he sets it on one of the slabs toward the front of the room, and he quickly begins chanting and moving about, performing these signs of this rite. But the important takeaway is that it doesn't seem to have any of the pomp or circumstance of the ritual that you just witnessed in the Temple of Erathis. It seems very... it reminds you a lot of the way Laramandus does it. Very cut and dry. And finally he says, "Very well. Ask your first question."
Was Avernus Westigo resurrected?
The red liquid in the bowl ripples and bubbles. And he says, "According to the spirits, no."
Is Avernus Westigo working with someone inside Everwatch?
Again, the bowl ripples and bubbles, and he shakes his head at you and says, "No."
Is Avernus Westigo a lich?
The dish again bubbles and ripples, and he kind of leans back a little from it, and then he regards you for a moment. Says, "According to the spirits, yes."
That's worse than him being resurrected.
The ritual concludes, the bowl stills, and he pushes it slightly away before resting a hand on the slab and looking at you. You can see that he kind of, even though it's low, he kind of leans his weight. He seems to be kind of stretching his hamstrings a little. He says, "It is unsettling news you've been given. This lich."
Man, we thought we had killed before, but wondering if maybe he was a lich already then.
As should be obvious, any undead is an affront to the Raven Queen. Is there perhaps more information about this creature that you can give me that I might be able to see to its end?
We are going to pursue that means, but he was the necromancer responsible for the attack on the city.
You mean the undead yesterday?
Yes.
He nods understandingly. Says then, there are a great many people within this city, even outside of the faith of the Raven Queen, who would like to pay him back. Do you know what else?
I mean, I'll give him what information I know on him. Like,
You know that... So you passed to him the information that you had a run-in with him before, that you fought and defeated and killed him, that you saw his body devoured by a dragon, and that he appears to still be here, that he is now a lich. You know that, you interacted with a trap that he laid that appeared to indicate that he had gone to Sedarin. Are you going to tell them about his grandson?
leave Christopher out of it.
You're gonna leave Christopher out of it. Okay.
For now, at least.
Huh?
I want to talk to Christopher before I go spreading information. I was like,
Okay. That's why I asked. I thought you might have feelings about that. What else is there? I suppose that and that he used the ancient keep in Thanandir, Shatterstone, for a period of time. I think.
yeah, waiting. About the books he stole and stuff. He stole special books, right?
Right, the books that potentially contained rituals which could summon Orcus to the material plane.
Perhaps that is how it became a lich.
You do, at the mention of these books, witness this massive person's massive eyebrow rocketing skyward. Yes, I feel that is a very fair read on the situation. Likely, he was not so much summoning Orcus as petitioning him for power.
Seems he succeeded.
It seems so. Well, if that is all of the information you have, then I will devote what resources I can to expand that search. If there is anything that I can give you that I think will help us both, then I will send. Is that all right?
Yes, I was just going to ask you.
He nods solemnly. And if there is anything else for which you require the services of the Temple of the Raven Queen, I make us available to you.
We'll be sure to take you up on the offer if we can think of anything.
Very good. Well then, Mr. Draknir, I wish you well in your travels, and hope that one of us reaches this lich before he does more damage.
Same to you.
May the Raven Queen ease your transition to the next life. Does anybody else have anything they wish to say to the cleric of the Raven Queen?
I'm good.
Oopsie. He will give you his name. He is Hunk Thunderfoot.
Cool name.
Hunk?
Yeah, I'll write it out.
Hunk. Vendar, he's a hunk.
Yeah. I will I will remind the players of the half-giants that they met in Tuca, who pretty much universally had monosyllabic first names that indicated
Yeah, like stone.
like stone and crunch and sprint.
Alright.
Are there more questions that you wish to ask at other temples?
We could try to locate where he is. What if he's that powerful? He could be. If he's as powerful that he can teleport like the way we do, he could be anywhere.
Not an unreasonable assertion.
How do you track down a lich?
How do you track down a lich? Well, I mean, the method that you're using now isn't half bad, at least, in the moment.
Yeah.
But unless you want to be like, is he here? No. Is he here? No. Is he here? Yes. Okay, teleport! I don't know what you're gonna do about the information.
We might be able to narrow down at least where he might be hiding. We could ask if he's still on Spara.
Could do that.
Or we could go broader, like Blair Mendis says. Say, like, is he north of the border of Aspara or something? And if not, then we could say, is he north of like the border of Sudaran, or somewhere further south. I don't have the map up, so I don't.
Oh, I can pull the map up for the stream. This one? Yeah, there's the one. Alright, so, on the stream, honestly, since this isn't, oh no, what have I done? Map.
Sudaran is the southernmost place, so.
Yes.
So we could try to determine where he is based on doing something like that.
That's what's happening.
I suppose we could ask if he's hiding in like a permanent base.
There we go.
Or if he has a permanent base.
I made the map bigger.
He got so much big.
Lock it again. There we go. Since it's a temporary thing. Woo. Yeah, that's not dizzying at all. Okay. So, on the map, the white rectangle with the red inside and sort of below it, that represents the capital where you are. It's in the middle of the river there, but closer to the border with Thanandir. And these areas are very large, so that in general, the distance between squares is 1 or more days of travel on foot or by cart. Not true of some of the squares, obviously, but that was pretty much how the map got populated. Was, okay, you traveled for a day and you got to another town, and so a square went on the map. You traveled for a day and then you rested here, so a square went on the map. So that was usually how things happened. Just to kind of give you a little bit of sense of scale.
See, moving across Torlos there.
Yep, those are all the places you stopped in Torlos. When you camped for the night, then when you met the Dragonborn, and then you camped for the night, and then you got to Garland. It was like 2 or 3 days between each place. So, like, I think it was 3 days of travel to get you from the city of Tuca to the Dragonborn camp, and then it was another 2 days of travel, at least, to get you from where the Dragonborn were to Garland. And then I think you did it in like a day and a half or 2 days on the way back, coming from Garland to the Dragonborn tribe, because Yukikaze force marched all night so that you got there faster. Because that was when you were receiving the potential death threats from the Sand Dollar gang, so you didn't want to lose a lot of time.
Okay, so we could try to narrow down where he is based on countries, and we could go broad, or we could go not as broad and hope we're lucky. There's still at least 2 temples we could use, because there's Cord and Pelor at least.
Yep. You know that there's a Temple of Ione as well.
Right, Ion. So there's... We could ask 9 questions. I guess there are only 9 countries on the continent.
Is he in Aspara? No. Okay. Is he in Thandir? No. Okay. Is he in Bromber? No. Okay. Next temple.
We could do that. I'd probably go Aspara and then Sudaran, just in case he wasn't lying about that.
Yeah. Don't forget that the big white box north of Aspara is Vardivton. It's not written there because I guess I couldn't get the word to sit nicely.
Oh, there's a different one, so that means there's 10.
Do
1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Lich count as powerful undead?
It's technically 13. Yes.
Yes, they are like
So
the
we
most
know he's
powerful.
not within like
He
3
wasn't
miles
within
or
3
whatever.
miles of when you cast Knowledge of the Land or commune with the land.
You know, nature.
Okay, sorry.
I suppose we could just see if he's in Sudaran, see if that thing wasn't a lie. Seems likely that it was. Maybe he's in Ebengard.
Hanging out with the dragons.
Yeah. Maybe he's joined forces with them. But unless anybody else can think of a better way, then
Well, I mean,
it's true. We also don't know if he's on the move or if he's got a permanent base or what
if you
his
want to
next
find out
plans are.
where he is currently, you can split the continent in two somehow, and then that gives you.
Good. We could say, like, is he north of the Birkarwal border to Torlos? It's about halfway.
Yeah.
Is that what we want to do?
Well, that's a good way just to cut things down, finding out where he is. Then other questions you need to worry.
There's also the thing, how useful it is of knowing where he is right now if we're not going to immediately chase after him.
Just that.
That's a fair point. I don't know if we need to worry about, because we got to discuss with the group about going there.
We could ask if he's planning on attacking the city again. If he has plans to attack other places with these undead that he created.
It's dangerous. If he succeeds an attack against any city, that would make a big army for him and pretty much wipe out the entire city, possibly a lot more than that. We might want to make him the priority. But of course, there's still the imminent threat of the dragons. So, question is, which one's more imminent?
Or if
This
they're
one, I
working
think.
together.
If they're working together, then I don't know. I guess maybe that's better for us. They're all working together to stop him. They're all working together to fight us.
Just smush all my problems into one thing that I can deal with.
Yeah, if they're all united, then at least it's only one thing we're dealing with.
Combine
No,
all
it's
your
one.
debt into one lump payment.
Yeah, but then it's gonna hurt a lot more. Freaking deal with Lich and dragons? Jesus.
Who?
Bahamut.
So, are you going to go seek more information? And is that information going to be solely about this Lich? Or do you perhaps want to ask questions about the dragons?
We could also do that. There's more going on than just the Lich. We could try to find info about the dragons.
I would say asking if he's going to attack the city again is probably a good.
Yeah, that could be good.
Yeah, the guys were unsure of if his plans were over for Everwatch, so it's possible.
Perhaps Everwatch was just a test run.
Yeah. And when we were out there, it did seem he specifically targeted Everwatch because we were here. So perhaps if we go after the dragons, he will simply follow. He seems to be holding a grudge from when we killed him.
I wonder why.
Yeah, never. Hard to understand why someone would hold a grudge for that, right?
Vendar definitely can't relate. There certainly wasn't that time he got taken out by bandits and wanted to torture them for it.
Yeah, couldn't possibly understand that inclination.
Or the time that one guy refused to sell him arrows.
He didn't refuse to sell me arrows. He was price gouging me like a ridiculous amount, and I was not happy about it. He was trying to sell me like one arrow for half a plat.
No, I think it was a full plat. It was 10 gold per arrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It may have been a full
golden arrow.
plat. Yeah, it's like, that's more gold than you've seen in your lifetime, and you wanted me to spend that on one fucking arrow.
To be fair, he was playing the market, and the fact that there was nobody else that could make arrows around.
He said, go buy them from somebody else if you don't want to pay my price. That's fine. Yeah. I liked that guy. I had a few people who were outside of the campaign who said, "Man, he should be the BBEG."
The true BBEG.
The true
Is
BBEG is
capitalism.
the hunter who you tried to kill for arrows. Anyway, so 3 temples, potentially 9 questions. This lich, Alvernus, or dragons, or hang out and eat food and wait for Laramendus to come back.
I suppose, what can we think of that we might want to know, even if it's not related to the dragons or the lich? We can come up with 3 questions, and it's worth another. We got is he planning to attack the city again?
I'm at a loss, personally.
We could ask if we destroyed the what's-her-face lich in Garland.
Sure, we could ask if I don't remember her name. But we could ask if she was destroyed. That's a good question. Suppose we could ask if Garland is still exists. If she is in fact still alive.
Just gonna have all the lich friends.
Yeah. There's a whole coalition of liches. All
We
these
met
liches
someone
that
in
we should
Garland?
enemies of.
A coalition.
We meet every other month.
You gonna answer Raiken's question?
Yes, there was a lich. And you won't remember anyway, so.
I'm not telling you this story again, Raiken.
You're just gonna forget it.
It's not worth talking about.
God damn it, Tristan, I saw your goddamn question.
They're
If
the
she
best
is,
questions.
in fact-
They should definitely be the ones you ask.
If she is in fact alive and we run into her again, it's gonna be so personal for her. And Raiken's be like, I don't even know who you are. She'd be like Scarlet Witch and Thanos. You took everything from me. I don't even know who you are.
What are you?
For you, it was the most important day of your undeath. For me, it was... Vendar, what day was it? Tuesday. Was it really Tuesday? I thought it was... Yeah, whatever.
Don't you remember? It was back in the day. Yeah, that's a Wednesday.
Everyone knows that. Come on.
So that would be 2 questions, right? So you still need a third?
Yeah, if the question is yes, then we can always ask if Garland's still around.
If it's no,
If it's no, then we'd have to summon something else. But if Garland is still around, that probably means there's a bunch of residuum still around.
We could always ask if I am the greatest champion of Cord.
Suppose we could ask if there's any residuum on the material plane that isn't in our group's possession.
well, we know
No,
the
that
answer to that
that would be true because we've given residuum away.
Wait,
Yeah,
shit.
that would be an automatic yes.
I know this one.
Suppose we could ask that didn't come from our group. Suppose we just ask if the city's in any immediate danger or imminent danger. Or maybe we could ask about the scale of Whittimer. I don't know. Gotta be something, right?
I mean, it's a lot of power at your fingertips, so... Yeah, 9 questions, write them down. Just start from there and see if the answers spark new ones. I mean, so is anybody against going and asking more questions?
No, I'm not against it, but I don't have any good ideas for questions.
Can we live in harmony with the dragons?
You ask the question via commune, and then the answer is just, hold on, let me take this one. Bahamut, no, just get the... No. And then just a sigh.
Move, I need to answer this.
Okay. Suppose we could ask if there's any other way to stop Tima other than raising and killing her children.
Oh, you beat me to typing it.
Yeah, let's just go and ask these questions. Those are good questions.
Thank you, Jebel.
Yes.
All right.
So yeah,
question,
we'll
I'm
go to...
trying to. Let's see.
And you went to Kubara.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, let's go to probably the Temple of Ione and ask these questions.
Okay. You head to the Temple of Ione. You get there, and you are greeted at the door by a dwarf, who seems to recognize some of you, especially Yukikaze, and says, "I'm Taram Lanier. Welcome to the Temple of Ione, or welcome back to you, Dragonborn. Is there any particular knowledge that the temple can share with you today?"
We're looking to have a commune spell performed.
"I see. And that is one of our most commonly asked after services, so I can't guarantee that it would work. But I can try, if you're willing to pay the price."
So have you used commune before today?
"Yes. We usually get 3 to 4 requests a day, and can usually get through 2 of them. This would be our 3rd of the day, so..." He crosses his fingers in front of you. "But that being the case, we do only charge 25 gold for the service."
Perhaps we should choose a different temple then.
"Very well. It is a reasonable thing to do. If you get here early enough on the morrow, then I shouldn't have spent it yet."
If we need the commune again tomorrow, then we'll be sure to come here first.
"Very good, sir. Well, may the knowledge of Ione light your path."
So do you guys want to go to the Temple of Cord or Pellar? Go to Pellar,
one's
then it's
closer.
probably dying.
Where you are now, Cord is closer than Pelor. The Temple of Pelor is all the way up in the top
Let's go to
district.
Cord.
Cord.
Very well.
So we go to the Temple of Cord.
Before we leave, I'm going to. Is there just a piece of paper and like a pen or something?
Sure,
just
especially
scribble
here in the
something.
Temple of Ione, you could get yourself several sheets of paper and a quill for just a few copper.
I just want to write a quick note,
Okay.
like on a small piece of paper, like a.
Hey, are you leaving this piece of paper here with this temple? Then yeah, he'll just say, if it's a note for me, then write it on this.
So I write out. What was it called again? Potion of Night?
Yes.
The Bottled Night?
Bottle Night.
Bottled
I write
night.
that on a piece of paper and I just I hand it to him and just ask him if it would be possible for him to find out any of this. What it is, what it does.
He looks at it, and you see his brows furrow. This dwarf, who stands just a bit taller than you, Jebel, says, "It's an odd thing there, isn't it? I haven't heard of it myself, but I will check our stores of knowledge, and if there's anything about it that I can turn up, I can send for you. I imagine," he kind of sweeps the quill over the group and says, "that you're moving quite often and may not be in town still when I find what you're looking for."
Perhaps. For the time being, we're staying at point 2.
We're staying at the Boar Hunter Lodge.
Yeah, the point at
Up in the
Vendar.
frontier of the city.
That makes sense, then. Alright. You must be Draknir.
Yes.
Got the look. Very good. Welcome to the Temple of Ione, Master Draknir.
A pleasure to be here.
And my name is Jebel Raglan.
Jebel Raglan, and you see him add that to the small sheet of paper with Bottled Night written on it. Says, "Very good. If I find anything in the next few days or whatnot at all, I'll send to you. Let you know."
That's good thinking, Shovel.
Oh yeah. I couldn't find anything earlier, but who knows?
If anybody knows, you think it'd be the Temple of Ione?
always new things to learn, and the temple is always willing to pay for new knowledge. Make sure that we can pass these things on to next generations. So, if you've got anything that you think we should know about and we don't, I'd be happy to accept it and pay for its value. But aside from that, we're always open to those who wish to learn.
Okay, and we move on to the Temple of Cord.
Very good. Down in the Docks District, this area is, a lot more like short-term, betting, like a lot of inns and things. A great deal of merchants of many, many things. As you see, the area is largely populated with the crews of merchant vessels that come to trade in the port. And so this area serves their needs, places to stay the night until their ship takes off, things that they can buy from other merchants who've come through. It's a hopping and bustling place. But as you move through, you do begin to hear the rhythmic ha! Ha! Chanting of people practicing martial arts and kata. And you do come upon a high-walled, medium-sized structure that as you peer through the gate you see is an open courtyard covered in fine sand with people in light, airy clothing or muscle wraps of different kinds as they spar, meditate, and practice their kata. And as you begin to enter, you'll see one of the people within will wave to you, and then they'll turn and wave in another direction, and from a door along the side of the courtyard here, a tiefling woman will stride forward, her tail dragging in the sand behind her. As she approaches the group, she seems to be focusing completely on Raiken. And she says, I wondered when you'd come again.
Yes, it's good to see you again. We are here on important business.
Of course. I don't think I've met many of the rest of you. I'm Issa Farrell.
It's nice to meet you, Issa.
She'll quickly shake any hands.
Pleasure to meet you.
And I'm the head cleric of this Temple of Cord. We always are accepting anyone who wishes to show their strength, but you've got this self-proclaimed champion of Cord with you, so I'm going to shuffle my schedule around to see what it is you have to say.
We're looking to have a commune performed.
It sounded like Yuki tried to say something.
No, it was me. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Well, we do get people in here now and again who ask for that service, usually to find out if they're going to win a championship or whatever. But I haven't spent it today, and so I'll sell it to you.
How much?
I want to know where you got the armor of Cord.
Well, I can tell you exactly how we got the armor.
Good, because he couldn't. He told me it just appeared one day. And that it was because he was awesome.
There's a reason he can. As it turns out, he is quite strong, and he likes to boast his strength, as many members of as many who follow Cord do.
Stop! You flatter me.
He boasted to the wrong entity. He ended up in the Feywild and told the story to a Fey, not realizing that he was giving the memory over to her.
All right, she's gonna nod and she's gonna bring up her right hand and kind of sweep it a bit to the right, indicating to you step sideways.
I will.
And she's going to throw a punch at Raiken. You are not currently wearing the armor, right?
I guess
You might be.
Raiken
You were just out in the battlefield where you were. Are you
Do
still?
you want...
but we did go to the city, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that he put away the armor back
Okay.
into the necklace.
Okay. Then I assume a 15 hits your unarmored AC.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Please take 4 points of bludgeoning damage as she thrusts a rock-hard fist into your gut. The soft lizard underbelly.
Oh,
Idiot! Did nobody ever teach you not to deal with the Fae?
no.
Fair.
I don't think so.
She will step back to where she was and, like, sigh, her shoulders lower as she regains her former, calm energy. Your solar plexus is sore. That was a good punch.
She seemed like a nice lady.
Don't they always do? Alright, so he lost the story to a Fae. Cool. How'd he get the armor?
So we actually spent a good deal of time searching for the armor, and we eventually were able to find out that it had been hidden away in the ancient city of Garland, out in the deserts of Torolas.
Alright, I want to step back for one moment, because a lot of the temples of Cord got together, and we paid a good sum of money to the Archmage of the Mages Guild in Bromdor to find this. Are you in any way tied to her?
Yes, she did help us find it.
Alright, so you're the contractors. Got it.
Basically throwing her under a bus.
No, it was never made clear that our efforts had paid off. Now at least we can thank her.
Yeah, she was instrumental in us finding the armor. As it turns out, in this ancient city, a lich had confiscated the armor in an attempt to destroy it, as if it went unworn and unused for 500 years, it would be destroyed. So,
Were you able to verify that to be true? Because that was only a suspicion we all had.
the lich certainly believed to believe.
Would
to be true.
Raiken be able to remember this since it was like after he put the armor on and he saw the timer?
I mean, the timer is still visible. And so, like...
True, but isn't the timer like not like moving at all?
It does move and it counts hours, so you know that every time you put it on, it's much lower, by several hours or however long it's been since your last fight. And then when you go through a fight, it resets.
Oh, okay.
So you know that it's something that counts down and then resets, and then counts down and then resets. And you see it resetting. You don't know, you may not remember exactly why it's counted down, but then you finish a fight and the number goes back up.
Okay. I mean, could Raiken tell that this is time? Would it be like a huge giant number? Because is it in hours, or would it be like 500 years and blah 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 hours?
No, it's a gigantic number because it is 500 years measured in hours.
Well, I don't know if he'd know how much 500 hours is or 500 years is in hours, so I don't know if he'd be able to tell that the number is actually for hours or if it's for just some
But I
random
mean,
number.
you know that there's a number up there that goes up, that is down when you put the armor on, and then goes up if you do a fight.
I guess Raiken would maybe say, like, there's this number that just, it goes down, but then when I put it back on, it goes back to the same number that it was when I put it on the last time. I don't know if that counts for anything.
Yes, we believe that it did, in fact, would have been destroyed if it hadn't been used in that time, and it was very close to being destroyed. when we managed to reclaim it.
You do remember, because it was outside the purview of the story you told, that that number was 3 when you beat the purple worm, and then it reset to whatever the hell 500 years in hours is.
Okay.
So it was 3 hours away from destruction when we finally managed to reclaim it and save it.
And
We
this lich
Right on the money.
had the armor.
Yes, she
And-
was acquainted with the previous champion of Cord, and when the previous champion used the climax song and it ultimately killed her, she decided she wanted to destroy the armor. So the Lich spent 500 years hiding it away in an attempt to destroy it.
Well, lucky you folks found it then.
Yeah, it was. It was quite close.
Ford definitely wanted me to find it.
Oh. And you don't remember any of this?
I don't remember getting it.
Oh.
I have it. One day I didn't have it, the next day I did.
Yeah, we made fun of him for it too, because we worked so hard to get that armor, and then he's just like, I got it.
Well, hopefully that will be a good lesson for all of you about the Fae. Very well. You said it was in the desert in a place called Garland.
Yes, it was an ancient gnomish city that the Lich had essentially destroyed and then used magic to create these horrible storms that would suck away all the magic in the area and kill most everything that tried to get close.
Huh. I've never heard of this city. Can you point to it on a map, perhaps?
Well, it's gone now, but
Oh.
I can show you where it was.
Well, yeah, at least that would be good.
Sadly, in our attempt to, after we recovered the armor, there was a massive magical explosion that at least appeared to completely annihilate the city.
Huh. That must have been massive. You take out your very fancy coastal map, and as it shows the whole coast of Amaranta, you are able to point at the place along the coast of Toralos where it had been.
Wasn't there a giant hole left where it was and it was sunken in?
Yeah, I mean, there was a big ass crater, but it's also a shifting desert, so it's probably been filled with sand again.
Both of those are true. The explosion, as Vendar calls it, was a spherical ball of magic, and so when it took the vault, it also took, a hemisphere of sand out of the ground with it. And even as you watched, the shifting sand started to kind of fill in, and winds started to blow it, so it might still be a pit, but it certainly won't still be like the perfect hemisphere that it was.
Yeah. I said that in character too.
Ah.
Vendar responded in character.
Yes. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
So you pointed out, sure. This is good. I can enter this at least into our records so that we have the ability to trace that the job was done and how it happened, and can mark the current champion. Raiken, you said?
Yep.
Yes.
Raiken Lumas.
Raiken Lumas.
Very good. Then, if you'll follow me, I can perform the ritual in my quarters after I take the notes.
Sounds good.
You go in. The quarters are very Spartan. The whole place just seems to be kind of made of clay or sandstone, something that is easy to have shaped. The doors are just a few wooden boards that don't even really latch around the room. Her possessions are a cushion to lie on to sleep, a single thin blanket, and something that passes for a pillow. And then she has a few worldly possessions kind of scattered around, but the room is pretty much just big enough for the lot of you, and only because there's almost no furniture in it. She will take a swig from a pitcher of water that she's got in there, and then pour the rest into a bowl. Say, alright, I'll do the ritual, and then you tell me your questions.
Alright.
She says, after having written in a notebook and then set it onto a pile of books by her sleeping cushion. So yeah, she sits down, her tail curls around her, and her eyes begin to glow dimly as she begins chanting for several minutes, before finally saying, alright, I'm ready. Tell me your questions.
Is Alvernus Westigo planning on attacking Everwatch again?
She kind of tilts her head to one side, and then translates the words, and the bowl, like in the previous temples, vibrates, and you hear a word come back in Celestial. And she says, I'm afraid the spirits say it's unclear.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, was the Lich Minuit Kuvara destroyed?
She speaks the words, and once again, she shakes her head, says, I don't know what happened out there, but the spirits also are unclear on this one.
Really? Probably going to be the same answer in this one, but I guess might as well ask it. Were the ruins of Garland destroyed?
She speaks the question, and the answer comes back. And again, she gives you a sad face, in fact, and she says, unclear.
Wow, that wasn't exactly what I was expecting.
Sometimes there are interferences in things, or there will be interferences in things that make it hard for the spirits to know the correct answer to some of these. If perhaps, for example, this city of Garland wasn't destroyed in the magical blast, but was sent to some place the spirits can't know, then they aren't going to lie to you and say that it's gone if they're not sure. But they also can't be certain that it didn't.
It does suggest that it's possible that what we saw wasn't an explosion, but was actually some sort of teleportation or plane shifting or something.
I wish I could give you a better answer, but those that witnessed it, she kind of points to the ceiling, they're not sure what they saw.
Oh. That's interesting.
As for your first question, I think the easiest thing I could tell you about that being unclear is that his plans must be based on information that hasn't played out yet.
Yeah, I wasn't unexpected to get unsure on that one.
Who is Alvernus Westigo, anyway?
Alvarez Lestigo is the Lich that attacked the city yesterday.
The
He's
Lich
the one who
attacked the
sent-
city yesterday.
he's
Oh,
one
the
who sent
zombies then.
zombies. Yes, they were sent by him.
Oh.
We've
Well,
been
that's...
to several temples today and performed communes, and we have determined this information with those.
And these liches are powerful undead. I haven't
powerful
fought one
than I've seen
myself.
yet.
I only know stories.
They're incredibly powerful undead wizards of immeasurable capability. They're quite dangerous.
Well, then I think that I'll say an extra prayer for your group to Cord tonight, as it seems you defeated this other lich, Kuvara.
Yes, hopefully we can do it again with Alvarnus.
Well, she turns to Raiken and says, I'm sorry you've lost the memories of what's probably the greatest triumph of your life. But you have my greatest respect for performing such an act of combat superiority in the name of Cord. And I'm glad that the artifact of our god remains in this world, despite this lich's best efforts. So congratulations on that, Raiken Lumos, champion of Cord.
Thank you. Good thing is that I at least have companions who can regale me with my greatness.
She nods. She says, well, if you ever need me to slap more sense into you, temple doors are always open, and I'm always looking for a good fight.
Yes, I hope to return at some point.
Then, if there's anything else that the Temple of Cord can do for you, if you all want to fight, I'm sure that the Acolytes would love a chance at people so powerful as yourselves. But don't all speak at once.
Well, if Raiken or Yukaze would like to, and they're welcome, and I'll stay to watch, but I prefer to only fight when I need to.
Very well. Are there any further questions you wish to ask Temples, or would you like to skip ahead to Larmendus' return?
I think I'm good. I'm ready to skip
And
ahead.
also,
Yeah.
Right, I hope somebody's taking note of the answers you got to the questions.
No.
I will
I
write
usually
them
edit
down.
the messages that had the questions with just a tag at the end with the answer.
Yeah, that's what I've done. You want me to pin them, I can.
Sure.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Tristan's such a great DM.
Really? Wait, I almost pinned the questions I put up there.
I just saw those ones.
Wait a minute.
We could always go to the Temple of Pelor and ask those questions.
Are there more temples too, by the way? Like, is there a temple of Corellin or Sayanine or?
There might be. These are the main large temples that we're able to get, prominent buildings from the city. There tend to be, between 3 and 6, temples of prominence in any given city, based on who their population reveres above others. But you can usually find at least small shrines or groups of people who revere gods outside of that city's, main pantheon. So if you went looking, you might not find, a building like this that is devoted to the, worship of, Sayanine, but you may find a small group of people who, open up their home for it, or have built a shrine, off of one of the streets.
Alright, okay.
this one.
Bahamut, that was the other one I was thinking of.
Also, for that one I just pinned, the third question changed from is the person who Alvernus Westigo is working with the one who resurrected him to is Alvernus Westigo a lich? So that should be noted.
I think it was the... What was the third question in my one? Has he moved on to a new area? Was that one question that was asked, or was it a different question?
No, a different question was asked.
That's a different question.
Are plans regarding Everwatch complete?
I have no idea what the last one for that one.
Yeah, wow, so
it was
much.
the, is he working alone?
Yes, that's right. Thank you. Is he
It was
working
your
alone?
3.1 that you had a little bit below that, so we can just...
Yes. So, for those messages that have now been pinned, I recommend the people who wrote those messages to go in and make the alterations that need to be made, and then after the question mark, just add the yes, no, no, yes, 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 no, unclears. Just so that the pins are useful later.
It didn't pin the second and third question of the one that Vendar did because they were separate.
That's okay, because you can still hit jump and see the other two questions right below it.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to go find if there's any place in the city where you could say prayers to Sehanine?
No, I was just wondering if there were other temples.
Yeah, again, the answer is there's probably a place that is used as a temple, but these are the official temples in this city.
Yeah, I was wondering. So
That's fine.
question answered. All right. Now we wait for Lair.
Okay.
And tell him all the things we learned.
For so little time, and you come back and tell me that there's a fucking lich.
And we've learned lots of information since you left.
Alright, so you go through the rest of the day, you rest, you eat, you converse with each other.
If we have time, I want to make another poison with Vendar.
Okay. That'll take about an hour. And as I said, from the time of your last temple visit, we'll say that you've got like 9 hours before Lair shows back up. Maybe 10 even, because the rituals only take like 11 minutes. So you take an hour to do that. I will also remind you that you can do language lessons. Those take an hour a pop.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Be nice.
I think I was learning from Lair, but I am learning Draconic, so I can learn from other people.
Yeah, you got 2 Dragonborn in the party who probably speak that.
Yeah, I imagine
A much
they
more
could be
modern
speaking
version
tongue.
than Larmendus has been teaching you.
They
Larmendus
probably
speaks
know
like
the
a very
tongue that
old
they grew
man.
up with.
You guys were talking at the same time. What'd you say, Vendar?
I was just joking about how, yes, they probably know the language that they grew up with.
Yes. So, yeah, you've got 8 hours. Just quickly toss out some languages and number of hours. Remember that any one person can teach or can learn 3 hours worth. That's what your brain can hold on to in a day.
I'll do the poison with Jebel, and then if either Raiken or Yukikaza is willing to help me learn Draconic, I'll do, as long as I can with them.
Yeah, I do the same.
Okay, you're also going to do Draconic then, Jebel?
Yeah.
Okay. Yukikaze or Raiken, do you have a preference for whom would like to teach, or if either of you would like to learn any languages as well?
I don't mind teaching.
Okay. And Raiken can teach. Are you willing to teach for 3 hours, or do you want to trade off with Yuki?
I mean, Raiken would probably be just fine teaching because then it's like he gets to hear himself talk more. And
I like this reasoning.
yeah, and so like, and just like he can decide what they're learning about Draconic, the words and all that.
Teaches all the curse words.
Teaches them you have very pretty hair.
Yes, definitely. All the curse words.
Oh, I need to get the reagents for the potion.
Which potion?
Ability potion.
Okay. Do you have those written down, or do you mean you need me to tell you what they are?
Well, no, I just need. Well,
You
didn't. I don't remember you actually going into detail about what they are.
Yeah.
I just need to get some because I don't have any.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like me. Had I given you any indication of if they were hard to find or common?
I think you said that 1 or 2 pieces were from Feywild, and the rest I think were from the material plane.
Okay. Given that you had made all of those excursions into the city with Vendar to procure these things before for Vendar's brother, you do know where you can try to find the stuff nearby. And so, we'll just say probably an hour of moving around the city and haggling with a couple people to get the stuff.
Okay.
And it'll cost you, I don't know, 20 gold pieces.
For how many potions? For the ability potions.
Yeah, the ability potions. Let me pull up my note on those. Refresh my memory. I did write down a whole table, I remember. Oh, it's a sloth.
I love sloths.
Going to be herbalism. There we go. Like, I know I named the page something easy to find. Herbalism. And you want ability boost potions or ability drain poisons?
Poison.
Poisons. Okay. Let's see. Right. Okay. Absent a special connection with primal power. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna run these the same as the boost potions. Just, as poisons, if that seems fair to you.
Okay.
So we'll say that the 20 gold that you paid will be able to make up to 3. Yes, we'll be able to make up to 3 of any level of the poison. And I think I sent you this, but let me just
I have, let's say, abilities, duration, effect, cost.
Yeah, that table, exactly.
Now working with metric
and I think it should just run off that same table if you think that's fair.
That's how we did it for the last one. They did the intelligence.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did it the same way. Like
Yeah, they did
70%
the
sure.
intelligence poison.
So yeah,
Okay.
same table, same costs.
So if I give 4 platinum is 40 gold,
Yes.
and that'll give me 6 potions.
Up to, depending on which of these you do. As you can see here, the most you can get out of one of these is three potions for the cost of 1 spell slot at the plus, or in this case -1 effect. Then it's 1 to 1, 2 to 3, 1 to 2, and then 2 to 5. So like, yeah. So 6. You wanted to get 6 potions worth. Meaning that you can have and hang on to these. You should create a little note on your sheet that says, I can make up to 6 poisons, and then mark off ones that you've made. Like, say you do the 1 to 1 at a -2, then you've only done one of those if you spend the 1 spell slot. Or you could make, spend 6 spell slots and make 6 of them. You could do it that way.
Wait, the cost is for level 1 is what I get 3 for
You get, yes,
1 spell slot.
correct. If you spend 1 spell slot, you get 3 -1 poisons. So the first number in cost is how many you get, and the second number after the colon is
how many
spell slots it costs.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
And then it tells you right below 1 hour working with magic and natural reagents, taps into the special connection to the primal power source. So this is something that you are uniquely able to make, because it's using your primal power.
Yes. Okay, that's fine. So I have those. I will make, if Vendar helps, I will make a poison.
Let's send our help.
Okay. Very good. Cool. So, you guys do... I've only heard that 2 of you studied Draconic. Is that how you want it to go? Nobody else wants languages? Because that's fine.
Yeah, no, Raiken's good.
Yukikaze? Oh,
Muted.
yeah, and away.
You know, good. No,
Oh.
still here.
Okay.
Just didn't click my computer. That's all.
Alright, so you don't want to learn any languages?
No, I'm good right now.
Okay. Then, each of you 2 may add 3 hours worth of Draconic to your notes. And you may...
That's 3 lessons, right?
Yeah, that's 3 lessons. 3 1-hour lessons. It's all broken up into hours studying, so yes.
To 11 lessons now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's 8 for me.
Nice.
And I'm going to give this poison to Vendar.
Okay.
But it is poison that -6 Constitution.
Woof.
Ow.
Rude. Very good. And yeah, so you spend any 3 spell slots and for the day, and you give him this potion at the end of the hour. And then you guys just kind of kill time until Laramendus. You may arrange with Theron to transit back to Everwatch, and he will give you the go-ahead.
I will spend the spell slot for descending and mark down my residuum or teleportation circle.
Is there like a save for the poison, or is it just you get hit, you lose?
I believe that these poisons are drinky, right?
I think you rolled that he could apply them to an arrow.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, they would have a con save.
Okay. What is it?
Well, this one, given that it's got the highest cost, and it's the hardest to make, I would say, 18.
Yeah.
You were more generous than I would be. I would have said 15.
So Vendar also has like a potion of minus intelligence as well, which should have in his inventory.
I assume it's a con save that they'd be doing.
Yeah. All the poisons, especially these, injection vector poisons, are going to be con saves to resist their effects. But, if you lower somebody's con, then subsequent con saves are worse.
Yeah.
What's the Do you have the intelligence poison on your inventory?
I don't, but didn't we test it by me using it?
Yes.
I
The
thought
thing
you
is,
just tasted it.
Yeah.
I don't think you
But
took the full dose.
If it's a -5, you should have 2. If it's a -6, you have 1.
I don't have either written down, so.
Probably 2 of the -5s would be my guess. But I'll leave it up to Jebel, actually. What do you think?
I'll go back over, I'll look through.
Okay. Well then. So, there, you arrive, and Theranethian is stood by the teleportation circle, making sure, that it's you coming through. And says, "Well, welcome back, Professor."
I'm glad to be back. Hopefully everything remained calm today.
Quite the opposite, but no damage was done. Your group has brought a cluster of Flumphs into the city. I arranged for them to stay with the Temple of Erathis. They should be safe there.
Looks very confused. Where did they find Flumphs?
It didn't seem like I was going to get a useful answer to that question, so I didn't bother. And they informed me that the halfling in your group has some sort of strange, fey-born magical effect on him, and so I've asked them to communicate with me whenever he reappears. I would like to understand what threat he poses.
I will be sure to send to you when we next see him. Laura Mendes will describe everything that we have found out about things and everything that we've done to try and figure out what was going on and the effects that happened after them.
Oh, you're talking about specifically the zombies?
No, for Cyrus.
Oh, okay.
Everything that we we have done our own research into trying to figure out a little bit about what the fuck happens.
Alright, so you're going to spend half an hour talking to this guy as you describe this whole thing to him. And at the end...
and if you can think of anything else that we could try or that might be beneficial and not cause fires, should we attempt them, that would be greatly appreciated.
I will devote some brain power to it, Professor. Currently, my thoughts are... I'm most concerned about this Fae you described. I'll look into it, see if its name comes up anywhere, though Brendan is kind of a plain name. That might only make it easier to find. I shall inform my contacts in the Feywild as well, to watch their borders. Thank you for the information, Professor. I do believe your friends by this time have returned to the lodge with Mr. Draknir. They were very active after the
Look forward to
Flumphs
seeing
incident.
what they found out.
He nods and shows you to the door of the, takes you upstairs and out the front of the guild. He just sort of sighs out in the air. It's full dark at this point, and he just looks up to the stars for a moment. Strange times, eh, Professor?
Indeed. But hopefully we can learn some interesting things.
Ever, that is the goal. Well,
If you find anything useful about the residuum, I'd be curious to hear things.
yes, I think that it would be, easy to find new things about Residuum if I had a lot to work with, but I've only got what you've given me. The rest of your group has been quite reluctant to exchange it for any of my services, despite my insisting.
I can speak to them. But I can't do anything more than that.
Eh. What is it the humans always say? It is what it is.
I think at that, Armidas probably, smiles, nods, and begins going on his way.
It's not written here. He's half elven, sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought he was full.
Oh, well, these notes here don't list a race. Those notes there do say full elf. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna go with that since that was already written. You're right. He is a full
I don't know.
elf.
I mean, like, if one of the notes say nothing and one of the notes say elf, then,
Half elf is
split
reasonable.
the difference.
All right, go home. You
Armidas makes his way back to Borehunter Lodge.
yes, you leave him standing in his doorway, looking up at the stars, and you actually do hear as he begins puffing on a pipe. Turning back, you just see like the dim glow of a candle flame on his fingertip for a moment.
Been a while since Armidas pulled out his pipe on camera.
That's true.
I think the last time was when he was talking to the parents of the tiefling adventurer that we were with.
Darth.
And he was talking to the father.
Yeah. Darthan was the father's name. He was the father of Feanor. What was his last name? I have forgotten.
Been a long time.
It has. Talnir. Darthan Talnir. Anyway, you could always spend a little extra time and share some pipeweed with this man. He doesn't seem like he'd be against it, but it's up to you.
I think that given the fact that he was told that it was a busy day and there are flumphs for some reason, those are, native to this locale.
Nope. So off you go back to the Brilliant Plaza, I take it.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I can stop looking at my sheet. And I can move us to the Brilliant Plaza. Boosh. Over here.
Also, if I spend more time with him, he's just going to try and get more residuum out of me.
Why is everybody so afraid of that reality?
I just used. I got half of my residuum was gone now. But I will message you how much Nalia has.
Players, summon players. And zoom in. Raise. Whoops, not that. Raise this. There we go. Yeah, now we're cooking with something. Not her, not her. Him.
I can't lose his revive. He has to save every last revive.
You have to save every last revive. You're a little muffled.
Yeah, he has to save all of his revivifies.
I feel like if you just begin casting Revivify as much as possible, frequently as possible, you'll be dead before you go through your residuum.
I don't know.
You can
It's
resurrect
100 GP.
every dead person in the world and still not run out of residuum.
Okay.
Let's see.
I think that's everybody. Yuki, Raiken, Vendar, Jebel. Excuse me. And then Laramendus.
Oh, it is very dark. I don't know where I am.
It is. Everybody's on the 3rd floor of the Boar Hunter Lodge.
Oh, okay.
Oopsie. Forgot to lock this. There we go.
It's so much darker than usual.
I can revivify 187 times.
Yeah, well, the only light sources in the Boar Hunter Lodge are candles, and I just made it full nighttime in the time of day settings.
Ah.
Yeah, usually when we've done stuff, it's been like, or usually the map has been set to like early evening kind of thing.
Yeah, I usually keep it either in the morning, evening, or midday, so the map itself is usually pretty bright. Okay. I'm going to pin that, Sam, so that we can use that as our tracker. Woo.
So what time of the day is he getting back? Is it like how late is it?
14
I spent
hours.
15 hours.
Yeah, 15 hours.
15.
Yeah.
And I left. We got up relatively early.
Yeah, but then you did the breakfast thing, so maybe 8 a.m.
Right.
So 8 p.m. plus 3, 11
make it like
p.m.
11?
But, like,
Yeah.
it's now closer to midnight because of the extra time you spent with Theron.
Yeah, a decent amount of talking with him, and then the walk back. So yeah, around midnight.
So, people are probably dozing, sleeping, or getting close to it.
I think Vendar's probably light asleep, but you know, with a 29 passive perception, he'll be able to.
So
Wake
with the
up when Theron
24,
goes.
you hear from your disadvantage from being asleep. You
Uh,
do hear the door open, probably, and Laramendus walk in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, you're finally back.
I am. I heard that today was eventful.
Yeah, a lot happened. We learned a ton.
With the talking going on, all of you can be awake as this conversation goes on, regardless of if you were asleep before.
Laramendus is back.
Yeah, finally. Have a good time with your girlfriend.
Yes, the spell that she has should be most beneficial.
Good. What's it do?
It allows me to reinvigorate people from a bit of a distance. I don't know how, like, in world to say that I give someone a short
You
rest.
should just say, I give people the benefit of a short rest.
Okay, I can give you the benefit of a short rest.
That sounds useful,
It
especially for like Leah, reset her spells, right?
yes, it will. It is going to be exhausting to cast. So it will. We will need to be careful with it. but it should prove to be quite useful in many encounters, as long as we keep things light afterwards.
We should tell you about our day. A lot
Is
happened.
that something that you wish to do now, or is that something that you wish to do when everyone has had a chance to rest?
Well, we can tell you about it in the morning.
It's a lot to go over.
Why would you give
Out
them
of-
this option, Sam?
Out of character, where does Leah sleep?
I think Leah usually sleeps over here.
Okay. So I probably glance over at her bed when I say that, because she usually likes to not be disturbed when she's asleep. And then see that there is no one there. And then I didn't see Leah in the hallway. It's odd for her to be up so late.
Zin whisked her away earlier today, and we haven't seen her.
Oh no.
Somewhere in the Feywild.
Did she give any indication as to timing of anything?
Oh no, she doesn't know, especially since time's all wonky in the Feywild.
Lerman is having PTSD.
She made it clear that we shouldn't go after her though. She'll be back when she's back, and we should just move on until then.
I hope that she is keeping in mind all of the warnings that we have tried to convey.
So I mean, she's
suppose I can
her
attempt
patron's a
to
Fey, so
send
she's
to
gonna have to
her.
deal with them her whole life.
This is true, but
I
that
ended
doesn't
up
mean that
okay.
she should spend a significant amount of time interacting with any of them.
She'll be fine.
I certainly hope so. So you wanted to share the events of your Flumphs-filled day, or
Yes, the Flumphs. See, that's kind of complicated. We got to the area that we found from your commune and in our search we found an area that was desecrated, and so Leah and Raiken cleared the desecration, and in that we found some sort of a trap spell that the Necromancer had left for us. And one of the traps was it summoned a bunch of Flumphs. I guess most people
one of
wouldn't
the
know what they are.
traps.
Yeah. The first one, we're not entirely sure what happened. Raiken triggered them on. He triggered 3 traps, and 2 of the 3 didn't seem to actually affect him. So
The
we're
traps were
assuming,
very weak.
yeah, we're assuming whatever it is just he was too strong he shook it off. But
If the
one of
area was trapped, then I suppose there must have been something useful to find there.
well,
After all the traps?
after all the
No.
traps, no, it's said that he went into Sudaran, but we're pretty sure it's a lie. But we did find one of the traps. It summoned a bunch of Flumphs, and since we know what Flumphs were, we spoke to them instead of attacking them, and we learned a lot of information from them, including
You
that.
know, we could have communed that. We could just make sure it was wrong.
We could still do that, but we didn't commune to see if he was in Sudan. We did commune a bunch of other things, including the fact that while we were learning what the Flumphs had to tell us about the toy maker, as they call him, that it could only be one person, and through commune we did in fact confirm that. You remember Christopher's grandpa, that old necromancer that we killed and the Catharis ate?
I do. That was vivid.
Turns out he's back and he's a lich now.
That is
And
unfortunate.
yeah, and he's the one who made the zombies and sent them after us. It does seem also that he was targeting us.
He did appear to be relatively creative when it came to his undead, so I suppose that is not unreasonable.
Yeah, so there's that. We also learned that the gods have no idea what happened to Garland or Minuet. They both we asked if they were destroyed, and we got uncertain back to the answer. So maybe they were, or maybe they're in a different plane, but they're not anywhere the gods can tell.
Perhaps we can use questions on days that we don't need to spend them to be more specific to try and narrow down what it isn't, then. That could be
Possible,
interesting.
because it did seem that the suggestion was that it's possible they still exist somewhere. But,
We'd be
possible
able
they
to throw
don't
in
know.
quite a bit if we were able to go and visit Garland again. And it would be easier than going to where it had been and casting my spell. Well, possibly easier. It depends where it is, or what happened to it, or when happened to it.
Yeah, that's basically what happened to us. We went out there, we found the Flumphs, we brought them back because they wanted to come back, and I'm sure you heard. I'm sure the Archmage told you about what happened there.
He said that you had managed to find some Flumphs, and it had caused quite a commotion.
Yeah, most people don't know what a Flumph is, and they are kind of scary looking if you don't know what they are. So we did our best to alleviate concerns and make sure people knew that they were friendly.
Is there anything else that we wanted to commune about regarding the Necromancer? Well, you had said that the area had been desecrated. I am going to roll an Arcana check.
Okay.
That's only a 6 on that. That's a 26.
Not an arcane
Hallow
spell.
is not a
It's
wizard
20.
spell.
It's not a
Right.
wizard spell.
So he was working with clerics.
Well, see, that's something none of us, I guess, knew that he was a wizard. I certainly didn't know that was a cleric spell. We did expect that he was working with people, but we weren't able to confirm that in the questions we asked. We did confirm that he's not working with anybody inside Everwatch.
I thought we did confirm that he was working.
He
Right,
is.
that was
He's
one of my
working with
questions.
someone.
We never
Yeah,
actually asked if he was working with anybody.
Yeah, well, it said, "Is he working alone?" And the answer was no.
Yeah, I
that was one of
thought
the
that was
questions.
the third question. Because my third question was he changed that to.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I missed that one. Yeah. So yes, we do know he's working with people. We weren't able to confirm anything about them, except that we can assume there was at least one cleric given the spell.
I had hoped that he would be working alone, because if he's working with people, that means that there are other people who might know his research and be able to replicate his work.
And we
Or,
tried to discern
more
if
people
he
who
was
could replicate
planning.
his work before we have, at the very least, a chance to try and figure out how to more easily thwart it or detect it. I've been talking over you, though. So what were you
And we
saying?
figured we might be able to use we could probably use Commune to try to locate him, but we also figured it wasn't especially useful to locate him if we weren't going to immediately go after him.
That seems reasonable, since a lich should be able to teleport to places, and so
Yeah.
he'd be able to move easily.
Yeah, so I'm sure
Have
there are
you
questions
spoken to
we could.
Christopher?
I haven't spoken to Christopher. I was waiting for you to. I was hoping to send to him, and then maybe even do Ash's communication with him, because he definitely needs to know that his grandpa is back as a lich.
It is likely too late in the day now.
Yeah, so I
So-
figure we can do it tomorrow.
Is there anything else that we should do now, or should I let you all rest?
I think everything else can wait until the morning.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Rest
Alright.
sounds good.
Well, today was much more productive for all of you than I had reason to hope for. So, why are there so many liches? Laraminus whispers.
3 whole liches in
His
the world.
phone is right there, and just
This
as
is
he
the
mumbles
third
to
lich that
himself.
we've now encountered. At least one of them wasn't entirely hostile.
Entirely
One
hostile. I
was
mean,
not-
other than the fact that he would have if we went with what we were originally going to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, easily could have been, and probably easily could still in the future, but we interacted with him and it didn't end up in a fight then, at least. The other two.
However, it seems like this one might have a grudge against us, which is
Oh yes, this
unfortunate.
one seems to specifically have a grudge against us.
Well, I'd say if we run up against the other lich, Minuet, we have 2 liches with grudges against us.
I mean, it's possible she only has a grudge against you.
That's not fair. I don't even remember her.
You should be sure to tell her that.
I'm sure that will make her so happy.
Before we face her, you guys have to tell me everything.
Yes, and I'm sure you will retain that information long enough, as you have done since.
I will be curious. I use the what's the minor illusion? The cantrip one.
Yeah, I think it's minor illusion.
To make a little her. I want you to describe this woman to me in the morning.
Who was that?
This is the lich.
you see a human woman with dark brown skin and green eyes, wrapped in a flowing, wide-bottomed white and green dress, as she folds one arm across her chest and holds a fan in the other toward her face. You can see under her arm that her chest is bound in linen wrappings, and that resemble mummies that you fought in the dungeon. I'm describing this for everybody, not just for him. And she has her dark brown hair is like braided and tied and wrapped up. You know, it's these tight curly hair that's been kind of shaped by a bunch of ties on top of her head, looking very regal. She very much strikes the look of an aristocrat.
Raiken is going to look hard at the little tiny figure and be like, what was her name again?
Minuit Kubara.
I want it just to dawn on the party that he said her name just a little bit ago and he's already forgotten it again.
Oh, right. What's the A stand for again?
Take away the image. I guess I wait 10 seconds. Could you describe to me the illusion that I just showed you?
Now here's the thing, like, I feel like Raiken could describe the image because, like, that's now in his memory is the image.
Okay.
But he wouldn't be able to retain who the image is.
Okay. That's perfectly reasonable. Go for
it. He will describe what Tristan described.
Really, a reasonable approximation beyond I didn't even know you cast an illusion spell.
A little lady, human, dark skin, fancy hair, fancy dress.
Regal.
If
had wrappings around her body. I have no idea who that is, though.
If you see the woman that I just showed you, you should be concerned.
I see. All right. Thank you, Laramendus. I will make sure to take her down with all my being if I see her.
If you see her, then she has made a considerable mistake, since she can do things to you without you knowing that she's there. So, let's hope that if she is still around and looking for you, that she makes mistakes.
That's not scary at all.
Indeed. Magic can do quite a bit.
Totally not going to have nightmares, Laramendus.
I've just remembered that, when you had your vision after you used the, climax song, and, you know, it seemed like Raiken was dying, that she was one of the people he saw in that vision, in that moment. And she's like, I told you this would happen. She literally just came in for an I told you so.
I told you. Now Raiken remembers that. Right? If Raiken ever remembers that memory of that vision, he's gonna be like,
Who the fuck was that?
who told me so?
That was before you gave away.
Why did Laramendus' illusion tell me something?
What does Laramendus know?
I have approximate knowledge of many things.
He's been the one fucking with your head this whole time. You gotta take him down.
That woman was in my vision, Laramendus. How did you know what was in my vision?
He's not answering. You gotta kill him.
Was that in character? Like, did Raiken remember that, recognize her from a vision?
It is. I think that it is reasonable that he could, if he chooses to.
I would play it as that.
Okay.
Yep. He's going to all of a sudden it's going to come back to him when that he remembered seeing that woman when he did climax song. And so
is Laramendus aware of him having had a vision after doing that?
I don't think he ever talked about it with anybody because it was literally
Okay.
his life flashed before his eyes as he was
Yeah.
dying.
So what was the question that?
How did you
Or
know
what was
about
the
this?
accusation?
How
I don't
did you
know.
know it was in my vision?
What vision?
The vision I had when I climax songed.
What did you see other than her? This is the Lich who was hiding the armor. You remember that for the span of this conversation, please.
But no, that was the woman that was in my vision, which there was other parts of my vision, but it was mainly my life flashing before my eyes. But that woman appeared and she said, "I told you so."
I suppose that she. How would she? What would she? Did she tamper with the armor? Have some kind of message like that?
Where he's just got a guilty mind.
I'm gonna chime in, right?
You can.
Sure.
You can chime in anytime. Go ahead.
To my knowledge, she told us this is she was the previous champion of Cord.
No, the Lich
No,
was.
she was with
no,
the
she was.
previous
Oh, she was
champion.
with the previous champion.
The previous champion was her wife.
Wife.
Yes.
And
They had a very nice wedding.
So the reason probably why seeing that or that she appeared Raiken is because of that whole the relationship with the previous champion of Cord.
I mean, and the armor killed the previous champion, and she said it would kill you if you used it, and that's probably what she was saying.
And you forgot
You thought you were dying.
Did you see anything else about the life of the previous champion?
I don't recall.
Tremendous
Did I see anything that
crestfallen.
was that was, did I see anything other than basically my life flashing before my eyes?
You saw your life flashing before your eyes. There was a lot of memories of you and Tatsuya. Remember, this was before you got the news that Tatsuya was raising the dragons. You momentarily saw Minuet Kuvara, who kind of shook her head at you and said, "I warned you this would happen if you used the armor." And then you saw Cord, who basically said, "Cool, you've proven you're everything I want in a follower, so go get him, Tiger."
You saw Cord who fist bumped you.
Yeah, basically.
And you remember that and forget everything else. Sorry, I fist bumped Core.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Cord, my life, and basically her. So I didn't see anything about the other champion. And obviously, she was wrong because I'm still here. Stupid lich.
But you didn't use the full climax song.
I mean, there is another part to it.
And she's probably right that if you used that, it would kill you. As it did with the previous champion.
But climax song, it does not work. It does not kill me.
Not outright.
As long as you don't use its full power.
Just its initial power. And then I have to build it back up.
Alright.
Would you be willing to let me investigate into the necklace to see if Minuet had done anything to tamper with things? It concerns me that a message was able to be played, and hopefully it was just a message, something like program delusion, and nothing more. But considering we're dealing with a lich, I have concerns.
What will you do with the necklace?
I will likely be identifying and trying to just figure things out through that. I don't particularly have a large set of tools here. Although if I go and create if I create a magnificent mansion, then I can have many of the tools that I might wish for that I could use to study it, which would be beneficial.
I will allow this, but I will be present at all times.
It would be easier if I could do this when you sleep, because I don't. Like it's time that you're not using it, and it's time that. But very well.
He tucks
He
hammer
wants to do
behind
it
back.
right now after sleep.
I can still be present and sleeping, but you must wake
All
me
right.
if anything happens.
All right. I think that is reasonable.
Very well. You just let me know when you want to do that.
I think I would like to do some of that tonight.
Are you able to cast the mansion?
I mean,
You've
yes.
used 2 teleportation circles and 2 sendings.
Yeah.
And
so
the-
teleportation circle is a fifth, so it's both of my fifths.
And
2
with the
sendings are thirds, and then
Mind
I
Connect
used my
as well.
ninth.
Oh yeah, and one.
That was a
Hellhound.
ritual.
Right.
as a ritual.
So yeah, I have my 7th and 8th level slots that I could cast Magnificent Mansion with. Tonight I was merely intending to identify and other things that I could do outside of a mansion.
Very well.
Just to get an idea of what I might want to do for a more thorough investigation.
Raiken will take the necklace off hesitantly because it's the first time that he's ever actually taken the necklace off since putting it on, and slowly give it to Laramendis carefully.
Thank you. I hope that there is nothing to be found.
I do as well. Good luck in your research tonight, I guess.
Out of character. Whispering out loud to the piece of jewelry something like, "Now, if I were to hide a piece of a soul in you, how would I do that when I have an ion stone and everything?" I feel like when specifically this was a Lich of Vecna, that seems like it's probably not a good thing to whisper, so I don't. But I'm thinking it. Tremendous does not want to become a lich. It's not comfortable.
At this point, it's we're a little over, so I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, no, I was just waiting for a good spot in the conversation to call it. But yeah, so you've all accomplished a great deal of moving, shaking, and learning today. I am pleased and impressed. You lay down to rest for the night, and we will see you hopefully next week, which we should have Elisa back, I think. At least according to her. She should be here.
Wonders